Hey guys, good evening, good night, hello, welcome to my channel. I want to talk to you a little bit about Afghanistan. You guys know, one of my weird, I don't know, it's an intuitive thing where, I found a bunch of documents, you guys know this, and was able to analyze things that were totally I don't know how, except for God. I do believe in God. And I believe that the information that came to me was given to me by God. Call it God, call it intuition, call it the great Mother Earth, whatever you call it. Something gave me information, and I would go to sleep and I'd wake up with the information and I would get the information, right? So the information I have specifically about Gitmo and Afghanistan is they're putting women and children in Gitmo, claiming they're terrorists, showing pictures of Muslims when it's actually just women and children who are either born IVF or born IVF overseas, which gives them no legal standing. And then they claim when they come here as children, they're enemy combatants as babies. And then they do all kinds of stuff to them. Torture. It's a torture. Some people call it MK Ultra. But when I found my documents and I could see that the Department of Defense had moved my jurisdiction to Afghanistan, where I would remain a forever prisoner, claiming that I was born in Afghanistan and I wanted to go home. And remember, Afghanistan is under Sharia law, and not just an ordinary Sharia law, a very militant, women have no rights, disgusting type of law. Now, Muslim Sharia law is not all equal. It's not all the same. So I'm not speaking against Muslims. I'm not doing anything like that. The specific Sharia law that is under the Taliban, you are not under U.S. legal jurisdiction anymore. So, you guys know what happened to me. I'm not going to go into it that much. So what Tucker Carlson is talking about is that there were Americans left behind. Now, you guys know my parents are military. They work for two agencies through the bilateral agreement. One is the NHS of England. The other is, the U.S. Navy and our government, right? And I am a high-value detainee. Not an enemy to America. I've never been an enemy to America. But a lot of the documents I saw showed that they put enemy when the child, or whatever name they're attaching you to, right? They also strip you of your names to dehumanize you. And then you're in the jurisdiction of Afghanistan. So what I think is going on, claiming none of them made it to the airport, is that they're still holding people detained on American soil in a jurisdictional loophole called Gitmo, run by that organization I said. I can't remember what the address was. I feel like it was 1135 91st Street in Miami, which is actually a military command under the U.S. Jurisdiction. So when I saw the DOD was changing the jurisdiction, which is called extrajudicial, I don't know if it's called extrajudicial transfer or what exactly it's called. So they would be under a different country's laws, so that any time the people were tortured or harmed, they could just point to the country. And you guys know I have theories about the Taliban and ISIS and how it was created and who created it. that is directly aligned and in cooperation with our government, right? Now, why do they do this? Okay. There's many reasons why they would keep children as slaves. All right, as slaves. As military property. Now, one of those reasons is that they can use those children under the Immigration Act for torture and kind of do anything they want to them under the, I think it's called the DTA, look it up, Detainee Act, where torture is not allowed to any American citizen, but it is allowed in this loophole of the law. It is allowed to happen to immigrants. So I'm going to show you this, just a little bit of what he's saying. And he's reporting on something. We got Mackenzie over here explaining that they got some of the people out, but not all of the people out. We've heard this coming from Biden. We've heard it coming from a lot of different, whatever these are. Figureheads of the media machine. I don't know what they are. But they're not telling you the whole truth. When they say canines were left behind, canines, I pulled an Army document about canines. I don't believe canines are dogs. They are working dogs with handlers, aka MK Ultra. Okay, working dogs. Yes, they show you canines that are probably also trained to do a job. But remember, we saw the elites always showing dogs, and we're like, dogs. It means something. To me, it means detainees. All right, at Gitmo. So here we go.
Business came out on the last, what we call the Joint Tactical Exfiltration, the last 5 jets to leave. We maintained the ability to bring them in up until immediately before departure, but we were not able to bring any Americans out. That activity ended probably about 12 hours before our exit.
Okay, so look, you can watch this yourself. The problem is, this is just my belief, is that under the tactical state secrets, they can't tell you that the people under jurisdiction of the Taliban, under jurisdiction of Sharia law, are actually held at Gitmo in Camp 5, Camp 7. These are CIA camps where they release you into your own property, where you're living in your own apartment, but you have no legal rights in America. And then they put guards in your building where you live. I have a lock box outside so they can get in. They can come in anytime they want. All these, these violations of the Fourth Amendment. So I don't believe they're telling you the whole truth. And obviously, we know that the media doesn't tell us the truth. But what's interesting is one of the things I saw with this guy, and he's reading the whole time, his eyes are going back and forth, right? And they keep showing you these dogs and cages. Okay, it's people. It's people. If you read the military manual, you're going to believe me. It is not dogs. I mean, they're showing dogs because it's like wag the dog. They show one thing. We're horrified that they would be torturing and injuring animals, right? But they're torturing and injuring humans that they call animals. That's a designation, a difference, a delineation that's different. I don't know. I'm not saying the right word, but horses are owned by BLM. Horses. They call them the confusion horse breed because they're deported from their homeland, brought here so they have no legal rights, and then under our foreign policy are basically used as a share group, whatever you want to call that, financial instrument. Slave. They're used as a slave for human experiments, much like Gilead in Handmaid's Tale. They're used for breeding, and they're chosen for bloodline. They're chosen for blood. If they're universal donors, it's very dangerous. If they're Rh null, it's very dangerous because they're kept as slaves, literally, because of the worth and the value of their organs and their blood. All right. So I just wanted to speak to this. I've seen a lot going around, and I just want to tell you, if there was no God, I would never have had the information, because it wasn't information that I was generating. I did not generate this information. It came to me, and that's different. It came to me because I wanted to know and I wanted to be free. This information was given to me by God. I believe it was given to me by God. I don't have another explanation for it. Where I would wake up with information, be told where to go to get the information, not even know what I was looking for, and then I would get the information. And that's how I got the Nike information, the Scientology information, the death row records information, where they were putting women and children on death row. So those women and children had no legal rights in America through loopholes in the IVF law and loopholes in the immigration laws. So that is what I believe is going on. I can't prove it, but I can tell you that they're all kind of, they're talking mealy-mouthed. They don't even make any sense when they're talking. They're leaving Americans there that want to get out, stranded. I have a tendency to believe that those Americans are here in detainment by our own federal government, kept for human experiments that are non-consensual, and that they don't have the right to refuse or consent to any surgical procedure, meaning they can ask for a surgical procedure, but they're just going to do anything they want. All right, that's all I have to say.
We continued the outreach and would have been prepared to bring them on until the very last minute, but none of them made it to the airport and were able to be accommodated. None
of them were able to come to the airport because they're in America. Because they're in America, and until you study foreign policy and you understand that children are brought here and sold on the stock market, until you understand this under foreign policy to create more slaves, then you're not going to understand how the Taliban was set up, how ISIS was set up with the CIA and with our government. And they do it like this so they never have to be accountable. And so we want them to be accountable. God wants them to be accountable. And there's a lot of people that want them to be accountable. So anyway, you can listen to a little bit more.
None of them made it to the airport. So that answers a lot of questions.
Now, Tucker Carlson is a smart person, and he knows all of the people in the media know what Gitmo is. Don't get confused that he doesn't know. All right? He's also a figurehead. He's an actor. But he's not allowed to tell you the whole story. But he's saying, wait, this doesn't make sense. They're leaving them behind.
Past week, you may have wondered about this large but unknown number of American citizens you keep reading about who, for whatever reason, are still stuck in Afghanistan. And you may have asked yourself, who are these people?
They're stuck jurisdictionally in Afghanistan. So he's telling you part of it, but he's not telling you the whole thing. Jurisdictionally, they're under control of Afghanistan. According to our DOD, who transferred them there as forever prisoners for clinical trials. That's why no one ever gets health care if they're in Gitmo. Okay,